Basically, why do these houses function? See, be it the parliament, be it the assemblies, why do these function? See, in the assembly, as far as house is concerned, there is no other party other than us who are the opposition. Every other party, that is BJP, Janasena and TDP, are together and they are part of the alliance and they are the ruling party. So there is no other MLA belonging to any other party other than us who is in the opposition. And be it any number, the fact still remains that we are 40% vote share. That continues to be a fact, whether somebody accepts that or somebody doesn't accept that. So this being the criteria, so we being the only party in the opposition, if we are not given the recognition as the opposition party, then who is going to be the opposition party? So automatically, if one party is recognized as the opposition party, once the party is recognized as the opposition party, then irrespective of the number of MLAs that the party holds, automatically they would be electing their leader, who automatically will become the leader of the opposition party. And once that recognition is given, the advantage what the leader of the opposition or the opposition party gets is, mandatorily, the speaker is supposed to give the mic. After, he's supposed to give us the time. So much so that it is on par with the leader of the house. Why does anybody do that? It is because they want the opposition to speak out. See, only when the opposition speaks out, only when the opposition is given sufficient time, then the issues would come up. Only then the government could make corrective measures. That is the functioning of the assembly. Well, if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to recognize the party as opposition, if you're not going to give them the opposition status, then automatically you have nobody to speak as opposition party. So you don't want to give them the time, you don't want these people to voice out the people's concern, you want the ruling party to only speak. Then when will the people's issues ever be placed in the house? See, you have seen my press conference today on the budget that I spoke. It took me almost 2 hours. But that is the time that is required for us to place all these facts in front of the people. See, every detail that I had presented to you, I had shown you the document. I had given you a presentation, which in turn is very much required. So if this time is not, if you do not want to give the time, if you do not want the leader, if you do not want the opposition to speak, then you're just making a mockery of the assembly.
Scathing comments that have come out from Jagan Reddy's press meet today. He's talked about Deputy Chief Minister Pawan Kalyan. He's talked about the Kutumi government out here. What do you have to respond to him?
I mean, it just shows that the former Chief Minister still is frustrated. He's unable to accept the mandate that the people of Andhra Pradesh have given to him. You know, if you look at the entire rule books, it's very clear that you need to have minimum 10% of the seats in the assembly to have the leader of opposition status. He wants us to break that rule and give him the status, which is, I think, very unfair. He's a habitual offender. He always breaks the law. So he thinks this government will also do the same. We don't intend to do that same. And for that reason, he's taking out his frustration through a press meet. And he's gone far to even make objectionable remarks against the Deputy Chief Minister. I want to be very clear. See, end of the day, we live in a democracy. He's worked as the Chief Minister of a state. He should maintain certain decorum while making such statements. It's very, very unfortunate that he's making such statements, and we want to take it quite seriously.
So the allegations also include him saying that there's been a lot of corruption that has been made, especially leaders from the TDP government and close ones to Mr. Naidu and yourself. All of you are pocketing the money rather than going ahead with the funds for the state, is what he's saying.
Corruption in what? I think would be my question to him. We have not gotten involved in anything. We have cleaned up the entire liquor policy. We have cleared up the entire sand policy. We have constituted an inquiry on the entire land allotments, on the entire titling of the land done during his time. The Land Titling Act has been completely removed, which was a draconian act. So, I mean, we are for the public. I mean, if you look at it as representatives of the public, We are moving freely in the state. People are able to meet us freely. In fact, if you look at it, when you come to the assembly, the amount of police presence has been reduced by 90%. 90%. Because we believe it's a free and fair democracy. If anyone wants to come, please come, talk to us. We are here to resolve issues. And with that positive attitude, we are going forward. There is no place of corruption in this government.
Talking about the MLA who's not in the assembly, you told and you called him as one-day MLA. Why?
I mean, Mr. Jagan Reddy comes only one day in a year to save his skin and to save his post. Then he demands, the leader of opposition status, and then again runs away. And that's exactly what he does. And he's an habit. I mean, that's exactly the thing that he's been doing for the last 1 year. That's why I called him a one-day.
You think he's in hiding?
Sir, he also claimed that the government education school system was completely ruined in the coalition government. What do you say on this?
See, to be honest, it's been 8 months since this government has been formed. In the last 5 years of the earlier administration, close to 12 lakh students left the government school system. So they moved to the private school system. So, honestly, Jagan has to answer to this first, number one. Number two, I don't believe in vanity projects. I believe in being grounded. I believe in trying to understand what's the grassroots issues and how do we focus on learning outcomes. And that is the single focus with which this government is working. He spent close to 5 crores. We just get a report from IB. That's so sad. And he didn't prepare the kids for CBSE model of examination and expects them to excel. And when I did mock tests, close to 90% of the students failed in that. And this leads to a lot of social issues. So, we want to be very balanced in our approach. We want to be very grounded in our approach. We are very focused on learning outcomes. And to be honest, he should come to the assembly to understand what we are doing. He lives in Bangalore, comes once in a blue moon to Andhra, and lectures us about what we should do. I think that's very unfair.
Sir, the Andhra Pradesh government recently allotted 10 crores for development and, for Telugu language as well. This comes at a time when there's a 3-language issue that is going on. Do you think this is our stance, encouraging Telugu as such, given that it is our national language, native language?
No, I think if you look at it, some regional political parties are trying to gain, political capital by making an entire controversy around it. When I met Dharmendra Pradhanji, he was very clear that native language is very, very important. We spoke at length on how we should protect Telugu as a language and how we should promote. What they're saying is we need to have a multi-language system and it could be an option. So you can have English, Telugu and any other language. So it could be Sanskrit or it could be any other language. So it's very unfair to misconstrue a statement or a reform that central government is trying to bring in for the future of our own kids in a political manner. I think that's very, very unfair. See, let's also understand there are a lot of practical realities of things. See, Andhra shares borders with multiple districts. So you have Oriya schools in certain areas, you have Tamil schools in certain areas, you have Kannada schools in certain areas. So it's very important that as education minister I understand all these nuances and then respond rather than trying to make it a political fight and destroy the future of our kids.
सर, आज के जो जगनमोहन रेड्डी जी ने एक बात बोला था कि जो दिल्ली का जो चुनाव हुआ था उससे पहले वाले में आपका जो 80 आप जो गवर्नमेंट है 80 सीट में 77 सीट जाता था और जो एनडीए गवर्नमेंट 3 सीट होने के बाद उनको अपोजिशन दिया था। तो हमारे यहाँ पर जितना भी है ये एनडीए अलायंस है, तो बाकी बचा हुआ सिर्फ मैं हूँ, तो मेरे को क्यों नहीं दे रहे? तो उसमें बता
बॉस रूल्स क्या बोल रहा है? रूल बुक में इट इज वेरी क्लियर दैट 10% क्वारम जो होना है बैठने के लिए वो 10% है। मिनिमम 10% रहना है लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन स्टेटस देने के लिए। और जगनमोहन रेड्डी जब मुख्यमंत्री था उन्होंने बोला कि बाबू साहब के पास जो 4 या 5 एमएलए अगर मैं खींच लिया उनको लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन स्टेटस भी नहीं रहेगा। उन्होंने बोला, अब भूल गया वो। ऐसे कैसे चलेगा? अरे जब मुख्यमंत्री सीट में रहेंगे एक तरह का सोचेंगे, जब अपोजिशन में आएंगे एक तरह में कैसे सोचेंगे? पब्लिक ने तय किया कि उन्होंने इस बार अपोजिशन में बैठना है और लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन की स्टेटस उनको देना है, देने के नहीं है। पब्लिक ने तय किया ना। सो उन्होंने पब्लिक क्यों हमको 11 सीट्स दिया, पहले उसके बारे में सोचने का है। उनका जो भी मदर और सिस्टर है क्यों उनको रोज गाली दे रहा है, पहले वो सोचने दो ना, उसके बाद हम बात कर लेंगे।
So talking about the same that Mr. Jagan Reddy had said in the assembly, challenging Mr. Naidu, saying that you had 23, 27 seats. If we steal 5 or 6, you won't even be in the primary opposition. Today at this press meet, when we put on the same question to him, he says there's no rule as such saying 10% has to be given. And he also goes on and he states that compares with Aam Aadmi Party, saying if Arvind Kejriwal goes and questions, why not us? Why not I? Is what he's saying.
No, the point, the matter of fact remains is that it's there in the rule book. The parliament, the rules of the parliament clearly states that, and Andhra Pradesh adopted the same rules. This was when Nadendra Manorji was in Congress and he was the speaker. He adopted that. I read it out today. The rule book is very clear. I'll give all of you a copy of the rule book. Please read it. It's very clear. So how does he expect us to break the law, break the rule, and actually give him a special dispensation? I'm sorry, people didn't elect us to break the rules. They elected us to follow the rules, and we will follow the rules till the last dot.
Thank you so much.